Hey everybody, it's Jen with Jen's Resin Creations. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to show you how I made these black, red, and blue resin coasters. They were made for a challenge on Instagram. As you see, I'm using KS resin today. And I've got black Baltic Day mica powder, Just Resin's candy blue, and I also have, the candy blue is really pretty. I have a bunch of red glitter, and in order to kind of deepen the red, I put in some Baltic Day red, and even that didn't kind of take it red enough for me, so I put in some Just Resin Carmine red to continue to red it up. So I do suggest that when you're doing coasters, you tape the back. And probably do a better job than I did right there. I was in a hurry, so they weren't super great taped, but I usually get all the way to the edges. And I also suggest that you, unless you're working well with white, like doing a bunch of white or very, very light colors, I really do suggest that you do some type of a base color, especially on the sides. It just, to me, it helps it, the sides look a lot more professional. I don't know how to verbally explain what I mean about the sides, but when you're doing coasters in resin, the tops are always really great and thick, but a lot of times it gets so thin on the edges. Even though when we're done, we swipe the sides and make sure that it's covered. A lot of times it still continues to drip down, and then you have like a real thin spots on the side, and to me it doesn't look professional, but it helps tremendously if you have a base color already down in your, it's not just white. So now, again, if you're just using white, then it doesn't really matter. So another suggestion, this is a lesson learned for this project right here. I made too gigantic of a glitter line. And if you watched my previous video, you'll know that glitter is not my friend. So these turned out okay. The red and the black and the blue are always great together. But I would rather tone it down. Now, at the end, I had turned off the camera, and I still had some resin left over, so I slapped some on two more coasters at the end, and I don't have it videoed, but I do have the end results, and I'll show you at the end. Those turned out really well. I was a little bit more happy with those, but it didn't matter. All together, the process is kind of the same. So I just laid down the glitter, and then I filled in the blue and the black, and now I'm just like, I need to pizzazz it up a little bit. I didn't necessarily have a plan, but I knew I wanted to do red glitter, blue, and black. So now you just, as always, take your heat gun, your torch, whatever you use, and start popping bubbles, which is the most peaceful thing. It's super mesmerizing just to sit there popping bubbles. And this is my all-time favorite thing to do. I call it zhuzhing. I just scoop up some of the stuff and on some of the drips and just zhuzh it. I wanted to keep the blue and the black solid, but zhuzh and blend the glitter, and it actually turned out pretty cool looking. So one tip regarding coasters that I found, again, when I was talking earlier about the sides getting thinner than the top, what I've learned for myself is I overheat quite a bit. So I will heat them up to blow the bubbles or blow the stuff around, which I didn't want to blow the stuff around for this, and I wanted to try to keep it kind of solid. I didn't want to blend and swipe and all that stuff. But for coasters, once you heat them up, from whatever you're doing, take the heat off, let them sit for a minute, because to me the coasters are just so hot that it just kind of keeps the resin just melting off the sides. So at the end of the day, when you come back the next day and you're like, wow, the sides they don't look great, try to walk away from it for a second, let it sit, let the tile cool off, then come back. Now at the end, we always come in at the end of these when we're done, right before we put them up to put them in the dust-free zone. We always take our little gloved fingers and or popsicle sticks and continue to, just to make sure all the edges are taken care of, that there's no white, there's no spots left without resin on them. But if your tile is really hot, it's just going to keep melting off on the edges, so it's not going to be thick. Now for these, they turned out they actually turned out really good for the thickness on the sides. So it just, to me, it helps that you don't have super hot, runny resin. You let it sit, let it cool off a bit, then come back in and see how right there you're going around the sides and making sure that all of it's covered. But again, let the tile sit for a few minutes and cool off, then come back. And yeah, these turned out kind of fun. It was really hard for me not to zhuzh into the black and the blue. I really wanted to do that, but this is how they turned out. I think they turned out pretty fun. I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments. Make sure, if you like my channel, and I hope you do, make sure you click subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, and any kind of comments and feedback is helpful. And right here in just a second, I'm going to show you the second set I did that I actually liked a lot better. I wish I had gotten video of it, but I zhuzhed the heck out of those. I kept taking drips and with the popsicle stick and running them through, and they actually look, I don't know. I like both sets, but the second set I think turned out better. I wish I had left the camera running. Look at these. These look so cool, like little fire flames. Anyway, all right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you like it. If you don't like it, make sure you tell me why, please. And don't forget to subscribe. And thanks so much for tuning in.